Really have the right to travel? Do these sovereign citizens actually have a point, or are they just talking nonsense? Because over the last couple years, there have been an onslaught of attorneys making YouTube videos, commentaries, etc. that seeks to discredit anyone who's trying to enforce their rights. So in this video, we're just going to break down the right to travel with law, because they make it seem like so-called sovereign citizens are making up their own goddamn language when they go to court. But that's the purpose of propaganda, to make people seem like they're crazy, when in reality, they're only enforcing a law that's supposed to be upheld anyways. Now, I simply Googled sovereign citizen right to travel, and it's the first thing that popped up. The right to travel is a claim based on a variety of passages, some being more commonly used among groups. Now, let's stop right there, because this is one of the tricks that they do. You see how it says the right to travel is claimed based on a variety of passages? They never cite the passages in which these right to travel claims are being based on. And the reason why is because all of these claims are stemming from case law, which stems from judges. It goes on to say, one common argument from sovereign citizens is that they are traveling and not driving because they are not transporting commercial goods or paying passages. So now they're trying to make it seem like even though people are making the distinction, they're just making up some nonsense, because the everyday man doesn't know the difference between driving and traveling as it pertains to law. Even though they're telling the truth and breaking down the manner in which these so-called sovereign citizens speak, the tone in which they portray everything is always either condescending or articulated in a manner that makes it seem like what these people are doing is just something silly. Next, we're going to go to this police1.com article, 5 responses to a sovereign citizen at a traffic stop. The sovereign citizen movement has become the bane of many police officers in the US. These people, and I gotta stop right there. These people is a term that's used to ostracize or separate a people. And this is all verbiage used to create a profile and to group people as something that they're not. Textbook propaganda. So let me continue. These people feel that due to some contrived loopholes in the Constitution, they can declare themselves free and laws do not apply to them. Sorry, I gotta stop it again, but they use a trigger word, and the trigger word is loophole. So whenever people figure out how to use the law, they always want to call it a loophole. And so they said some contrived loopholes in the Constitution, right? Well, I have a book here called The Oxford Companion to the Supreme Court of the United States, and let's see what it has to say about the right to travel. So this is under the topic and discussion of right to travel. In 1955, a lower federal court recognized the right to travel as a natural right protected by the Due Process Clause of the Fifth Amendment. But where's the loophole? Now, it may be an unenumerated right, which is rights that are not listed in the Constitution, but nevertheless, it's still a right, and it's protected by the Fifth Amendment, which we just read. But let's continue. These people feel that due to some contrived loopholes in the Constitution, they can declare themselves free and laws do not apply to them. And that part is very misleading as well. However, people who get their legal advice from Wikipedia find out these loopholes don't tend to actually exist. So again, you see how they play with people. They will never cite the actual case citation that these so-called sovereign citizens are using. They will say people are looking up Wikipedia articles in order to get legal advice. This is the shit they're not explaining. Now, I can easily rebut that article point by point, but I don't feel like wasting my time on it anymore. I want to get to this case, Thompson versus Chief of Police, which deals with the right to travel as well, because there's no misconstruing what the courts ruled in this case. The right of a citizen to travel upon the public highways and to transport his property thereon in the ordinary course of life and business is a common right which he has under his right to enjoy life and liberty, to acquire and possess property, and to pursue happiness and safety. It includes, in so doing, to use the ordinary and usual conveyances of the day, and under the existing modes of travel includes the right to drive a horse-drawn carriage or wagon thereon, or to operate an automobile thereon for the usual and ordinary purposes of life and business. It is not a mere privilege like the privilege of moving a house in the street, which this is a privilege because it's moving a house in the street, operating a business stand in the street, so shit like this, or transporting persons or property for hire along the street, Lyft, Uber, etc., which a city may permit or prohibit at will. But when these so-called sovereign citizens are saying that they are traveling and not driving because they are not transporting commercial goods or paying passengers, they are making a distinction between exercising a right which is protected by the Constitution and a limited privilege or benefit that is granted by the state. And there's a maxim of law that states if you don't know your rights, you don't have any. But don't try to shit on the people who know the rights and enforcing the rights and try to make them look crazy. Book reference, Maxims of Law. If a person neglects to insist on his rights, he is deemed to have abandoned it. No right is held more sacred or is more carefully guarded by the common law than the right of every individual to the possession and control of his own person, free from all restraint or interference of others, unless by clear or unquestionable authority of law. It is ignorance of the law when we do not know our own rights. Ignorance of those things which one is bound to know excuses not. Ignorance of the law excuses no one, for all are bound to know the law. Follow, like, and share for more content like this.
Peace. This is A&B African Band Born on Random Rant of the Night. I was just looking up some stuff on TikTok, and the thought of everything that's going on, not just that, but what's going on, what happened in New York, how they're appealing a ruling that they want to have the state wants to have the right to snatch people out of their homes if they feel like they're sick. If they feel like you're sick, they want to snatch people up out of their homes and not return them until they feel that you should be returned and you'll be subjected to any medicine that they give you. Because what's happening is they ran out of power. People are not choosing like they thought we was going to choose. People are not making decisions to trust the government. So now, in certain local governments are starting to enforce their so-called help upon the people. It's not help if you have to force it. Let's just be honest. It's not force. It's like the COVID-19 thing that happened 3 years ago that took place for like 2 years. It was all foolishness. And you still got it out there too. You still got it vaccines and all other stuff. And I know this video will get flagged on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube, and I don't give a fuck. You know what I'm saying? Y'all need to start paying attention to what they're doing. All right, just like with the right to travel, there's a lot of videos coming out with the right to travel being challenged by law enforcement. Because if you know your rights, the police have no power. If you know your rights, the government has no power. And if you know where they got shit from, they have no power. All right? They want you to be totally submissive to their system. And if you don't want to be submissive to their system, then they're going to try to force it. They're going to try to force it upon everybody. Here's the problem. Do you think everybody's going to fall for it? Do you think everybody's going to sit there and be like, oh, well, it's the law. Nigga, it was legal for slavery. You think we give a fuck about respecting that shit? You know what I'm saying? Jim Crow was legal. To kill a black man, to kill a black woman publicly, nobody did anything about it. You know what I mean? And it was legal. As much as they acting like, oh no, it wasn't legal, it was legal. Y'all made being brown skin less than anything that you value. And the funny thing is we're the original people, our ancestors. You see us. So people are surprised that you don't see white people get attacked for the same things that black people get attacked for. I'm not surprised at all. I'm not surprised. You know what I mean? I'm never surprised. They got the complexion for protection in their system, and their system is dying. So their protection is leaving. It's been gone. It's just that we keep giving them props. We keep giving them the protection. Black folks need to stop paying attention to these people, to stop and move away from these people, to stay out their way when they do all of these things. We need to stay away. And we need to get back to who we are. Because who we are is more important than what they want you to be. When they're sitting there telling you, the right to travel, they're really trying to stop black folks. They don't want black folks to travel because they know they need black folks to be subservient as slaves. But it's not their time no more. It's not our time to be slaves anymore. It's our time to be gods, goddesses. For a lot of y'all say kings or queens. You know the word king means sleep. The word queen means whore. So I don't need to be a king or a queen in that capacity with that tone. I know I changed the dynamic of what that meant on my album, The Known Intellectual Nubian God, last year. All right? But those words mean something negative. Even when you say God and goddess, those are Germanic words. So if you really want to get into it, we have to stop speaking their language and start going into our word language. You know what I'm saying? But how many people are actually going to take the time to do that? For a lot of fools that are going to say, well, what is our language? And then you need to actually study more before I tell you that shit. Like, pay attention. Because at the end of the day, right, they're going to keep attempting to try to control the masses. We playing all these black games, these white games, these terminology names, and all of these games and ideologies and philosophy games. And all they're doing is creating more ways for you to be enslaved. They told you in books 10, 15 years ago. Bill Gates told you what he was trying to do 15, 20 years ago. Joe Biden threw his hand out there and told you what he wanted you to do based on what he was ordered to implement, and it got shut down. That was the opportunity for us to start really changing things, not just black folks, white folks, Asians, and all this. And all we do is separate things, and for some reason, everybody wants to put black people in the hot seat. Palestine and Israel beefing. People are mad because black people ain't standing up for it. For what? Asian hate. Oh, black people need to get involved in stopping Asian hate. For what? We don't hate Asian people. As much as you niggas think that we hate Asian people, we don't. You know what I'm saying? We don't hate people because of the color of their skin, race, creed, and none of that. We hate the shit that you do to us. And if it's continuous, then we hate you for it. That is alright. We don't give a shit about you. If you do some shit to us continuously, which is why we don't like a lot of us that don't like white folks, you know what I'm saying? It's because you do shit all the time and get away with it. If you don't like some Chinese people because they must have did some shit to you multiple times, and other races of people, I don't even understand why Latinos think that they're fucking better than black folks, because half of your 90-something percent, matter of fact, your culture is black, your music is black. You know what I'm saying? Your language is black because you got your shit. If you're Latino, you got your language from Spain, Spanish, which was Spaniards. The Spaniards didn't know how to speak until the Moors went over there in the 1400s, and they was nasty people before the 1400s, before the Moors went over there. And the Moors taught them how to clean themselves, how to speak, how to civilize themselves. The Moors were the civilizers, and Moor means black. So, if you know your history, you know. See, I don't get mad at a lot of the ignorant shit that people say, especially all the racist ignorance that I see online. A lot of racist cowards on here talking shit. Black folks this, black folks that. Then you got these clown-ass blacks that want to agree with them. Then you got like all these people telling us, oh, black people don't stick together. It's not that black people don't stick together. It's that you keep interfering in what the fuck we trying to do. Black Wall Street, we did that. And what happened in 1921? Move in 1985. Black folks trying to stick together, trying to create their own culture, trying to live outside their system. And what did you do? You bombed them up with a fucking Claymore bomb. First of all, what do you need a Claymore bomb in the middle of Philadelphia? I don't get it. That's used for war. You had intentions. This is what I'm saying. Our situation with this white-washed, ignorant, racist system is an act of war. It's amazing that we can sit and smile about anything. It's amazing that we can be amongst white folks and not want to kill them. Let's just be honest. With the history that y'all have, I'm not saying that we should kill white folks. I'm saying it's amazing that we don't have that. But you know why we don't have that? There was a part in Django where this fool, the dude that played Leonardo DiCaprio's character, Calvin Candy, he explained, he asked a question before he explained his little ideology on phrenology. You know what I'm saying? He said that, how come the slaves don't kill us? He said, if I was in this slave's position, I would have killed my master without blinking an eye. You know why we don't do that? I'm gonna give you some science on that. You know why we don't do that? It's real simple. It's not even a heavy science. It's just simple. We do not have that in our nature. So it is hard for us to think in the capacity of a beast when we're not naturally thinking. When even in the situation of where we should bring the beast out, we don't naturally do it. Our ancestors, not our ancestors, our overseers, Panataru, would allow someone to kill them. In the physical form, they allow somebody to kill them. If you point a gun at their face, they don't rule with fear. So if you point a gun at their face, they're not going to duck and they're going to get shot, and they will let their body shed and they will leave and ascend to a higher realm of power. Because they understand that this attachment to this planet is what keeps us in fear. We're attached. So therefore, our nature is of Panataru, or our overseers, who have a history of creating the greatest wonders of the world, balancing out the universe, and even on a universal level, we created the balancement that you call black. We created the stars, the suns, the river, and we knew everything exists in a balanced setting. So when it comes to us killing, that's really not our thing. Even when we do it on the street, we know we wrong. When we kill each other, we know we dead wrong when we do that to each other, because we're killing other gods and other goddesses. Now the ones that are outside of listen, even the rapists and all of the molesters that are black, what do you say when you hear about it? What's wrong with them? Are they out of their mind? Yes, R. Kelly was out of his mind. Yes, all of these rapists that were black and all this other molesters are out of their mind. Why do you think they did it? They're not in their right state of mind. That's the difference that separates the ones that did that shit, like the P. Diddy's and the R. Kelly's of the world, to the ones that don't do it. Because the ones that don't do it are in their mind enough to be like, nah, I'm good. That is not my nature. So when you go back into the killing part, why didn't we kill our slave masters? Because it is not in our nature. But you had some that were so angry, rightfully so, that they took white folks out, the white slave masters out. But why do you think we don't go in the street and just kill y'all for GP? You don't even hear about news of us going out and doing that shit on high abundance. You might hear a couple of stories where we, or some kids doing some shit like that, but you don't hear us doing that because of the color of your skin. You do that because of some shit you did. And then think about it. How come we're not going around doing that today? I don't have I don't have the desire to take people's lives in the first place. For you to ask a question like, how come we didn't kill the slave masters? Because it's not in our nature to naturally do that. But it took a few of them that fought back. Remember, one out of every 4 slaves statistically were murdered in battle, fighting for freedom. You see what I'm saying? They fought back. They didn't just go. So we did have warriors, right? But you're talking about the average person that never had to kill anything in their life. That's not our nature. That's why we didn't do it. And then a lot of those people were born into slavery. A lot of those people were it was easy to get them when we were subtile like that. Then you had the fire children of the 1970s. You couldn't do that shit to these kids. Or these people that were born, because I was born in the 70s. I was born in 1979. You can't do that to those 80s babies. You can't do that to those 90s babies. Those are the 3 generations of fire children that you couldn't do that shit to. So you had to trick them. You had to trick them. So what I'm saying to y'all is this. Right? They're always going to attempt to divide us. They're always going to attempt to control us. They're always going to attempt to fool us. And you have to know who you are and what you're up against. You have to know what you're up against. You got to know who you are, what you're up against, and what you stand for. And you have to do it together as one. want to hear about this shit. Oh, I'm a Hebrew Israelite. I don't fuck with you Sabians over there. I don't want to hear this shit. I'm a Sabian. I don't fuck with you RBGs over there. I don't want to hear about this shit. I'm a Christian. I don't fuck with you. Because, you know, they looking at all of us the same. All of us. Y'all can sit there and do your crazy shit behind different philosophies and ideologies. I'm Sabian. But I don't separate myself from my people because I know the bigger picture on that. And I know what Malachi was talking about, at least to a level of my understanding of what Malachi was trying to do, was trying to unify everyone. So we have to speak on the levels that we're at and not think we're better than people and bring them home. You're not different from me. Why do you think I do hip-hop music? Because everybody loves it. Everybody from different cultures, they love hip-hop right now. Hip-hop brings people together if it's done right. You know what I'm saying? If it's done wrong, then you get the shit that you hear in the industry. The industry was made to separate you. Just like religion was made to separate you. Religion wasn't made to bring you home. Religion was made to separate you and worship them through their images. That's why they was afraid of hip-hop for the first 20 years of that shit until they got control of it in the music industry. And then they can project what hip-hop is to the world. And now everybody hates what we do. You don't want to hear me talk about what's going on. I have songs on my new mixtape that y'all are probably going to be afraid of because you're going to say, oh, is it real? Yeah, it's real. Really real. It's really real. But you living in such an illusion that you don't think that certain things are going to happen. They are. There's already signs of that. And why live in fear? You live in fear because you don't know. You fear the unknowing, and you don't know what's going on because you ain't pay attention. They're gonna attack the right to travel. They're gonna attack your rights to make choices on whether to take their medicines or not. They're gonna attack your existence. They already been attacking our existence. Black folks should not be surprised. And if you are surprised, you should be slapped right in your face back to reality. So, with that being said, man, I think I'm talking a little bit too much. I'm gonna finish this and go to bed. And y'all have a good night if you're not scared of some shit that's gonna happen. What's going on? You shouldn't be scared of shit, man. What the fuck you scared of? Well, I got children. You ain't the only one. They got children. They got children. You know what I'm saying? Oh, y'all got children. What the fuck? Everybody say that shit. The kid's like 30 years old. Shut the fuck up. You know what I'm saying? I got children, man. Your children were born in 1983. Yo, get the fuck out of here. You're like 40. You're like 60. Shut up. You know what I mean? You wasn't paying attention all that time. You didn't teach them shit. You know what I mean? Like, come on, man. Like, wake up. Stop making excuses for being scared and start making conscious decisions to come together and stop judging each other based on what you believe in. Because that's the problem right there. You believe in shit and you don't want to see the actual truth that all of that shit is dividing you, and that's just how they pick you off. So, that being said, I'm off this, man. My name is A&B, African Man Born, on the Random Rant of the Night. All right? Maybe tomorrow I have something to say to y'all too. All right? Peace.